was part of Britain's bold step into decimalisation. Before 1971, the United Kingdom used the old pounds, shillings, and pence system. That meant 12 pence made 1 shilling, and 20 shillings made 1 pound. Complicated? Definitely. So the government began preparing people for the big change. In 1968, the new 5 pence and 10 pence coins were introduced. They were designed to be the exact same size and weight as the old 1 shilling and 2 shilling coins. That way, people could start using them right away without confusion. The 1969 10 pence coin carried forward that same purpose. It looked modern, it was part of the new decimal system, but it felt familiar in the hand of every Briton who had grown up with the 2 shilling coin. Now let's talk about the design. On the obverse, or front of the coin, we see Queen Elizabeth II, facing right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. This portrait was designed by Arnold Machin and became one of the most recognizable images of the Queen ever struck on British coinage. Around the portrait are the words Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, and the year 1969. On the reverse side we find one of the most iconic images in British heraldry, the crowned lion passant gourdant. A proud lion walking confidently, head turned toward the viewer, with a crown perched above. Beneath it, the words, New Pence, and the number 10, bold and clear. This design symbolized both continuity and strength as the UK entered a new age of currency. Physically, the coin was made of copper nickel, weighed about 11.3 grams, had a diameter of 28.5 millimeters, and a thickness of just over 2 millimeters. To put it simply, it was a solid, heavy coin compared to the modern 10p pieces we use today. Now here's where things get interesting. In 1969, over 314 million of these coins were minted. That makes it a very common issue, and because of that, most circulated examples today are worth only about 20 to 30 pence in the collector's market, maybe up to 1 or 2 pounds if in uncirculated condition. So if you stumble across one in your old change jar, don't expect to retire on it. But here's the secret. Even though the value in money isn't huge, the value in history is priceless. These coins mark the transition period before Decimal Day in February 1971, when Britain finally abandoned the old system and switched entirely to decimal. The 1969 10 pence is a time capsule that carries both the old and the new, bridging centuries of tradition with the modern currency system we know today. And here's another twist, these large 10 pence coins stayed in circulation until 1992, when the Royal Mint replaced them with the smaller, lighter version we still use. That means for more than 20 years, Britons carried these hefty coins around in their pockets. When they were demonetized in 1993, millions were withdrawn and melted down, but collectors preserved many examples, making sure the story lives on. So what should you look for as a collector? Condition is everything. A well-circulated coin might only fetch a few pennies over face value, but an uncirculated or proof strike can be worth a lot more. In rare cases, if you have one in mint state condition, slabbed and graded by a professional service, you could be looking at values in the range of 10 to 30 pounds, sometimes higher. Proof sets from 1969, containing these coins, also hold significant interest for numismatists. To wrap it up, the 1969 10 pence coin may not make you rich, but it is a cornerstone of modern British coinage. It represents a changing nation, the adaptation of old traditions into a new decimal system, and the vision of a currency designed to stand strong for generations. It's one of those coins that tells a bigger story than its small size would suggest. So next time you come across a 1969 10 pence coin, remember, you're not just holding a piece of metal, you're holding the history of Britain's money, the end of one era and the dawn of another. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Coin Collector for more hidden stories behind the coins in your pocket. And who knows, the next coin we uncover might just surprise you. Year of decimalization in the United Kingdom. Before 1971, Britain used the old pounds, shillings, and pence system, which had been in place for centuries. Under the old system, 1 pound was equal to 20 shillings, and each shilling was worth 12 pence. That meant 240 pence in 1 pound, making calculations tricky and outdated for the modern age. On the 15th of February 1971, Britain made the bold move to switch over to the decimal system. This meant that 1 pound would now be divided into 100 new pence, making it much simpler to count, calculate, and trade. The 10-pence coin was one of the first coins issued under this brand new decimal system, and that's why the 1971 10-pence coin holds such historical importance. Now let's talk about the design. The obverse of the coin, or the front side, features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. At this time, the portrait was designed by Arnold Machin, and it is one of the most recognizable images of the Queen, showing her wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. This portrait was used on British coins from 1968 until 1984, so the 1971 10-pence coin was one of the early adopters of this iconic design. Moving to the reverse side, the coin features a striking design of a crowned lion, which represents the lion passant gourdant, a powerful symbol of England and the monarchy. This design was created by Christopher Ironside, who was responsible for many of the decimal coin designs we still remember today. The word new pence was also inscribed on the coin, because in 1971 the decimal system was still new and the government wanted people to clearly see that these were not the same as the old pence. Later on, in 1982, the inscription was changed to simply 10 pence. The 1971 10-pence coin was quite large compared to today's coins. It measured 28.5 millimeters in diameter and was made of copper-nickel, a mixture of copper and nickel. This larger version of the coin was in circulation until 1992, when the coin was reduced in size to make it more convenient to carry and to align with modern currency needs. So, how many of these coins were minted? The mintage of the 1971 10-pence coin was huge, as it was the first year of decimalization and the Royal Mint wanted to ensure that everyone had enough of the new coins. More than 296 million of these coins were struck for circulation. That means the 1971 10-pence is not rare in terms of numbers, but its importance lies in being the very first official decimal issue. Now let's get into the part you are probably waiting for, the value. Since these coins were made in the hundreds of millions, finding one today in circulated condition is quite easy, and its value is usually around its face value, maybe slightly more for collectors who want a neat example from 1971. However, if you happen to find a 1971 10-pence in uncirculated or proof condition, that's where things get interesting. A coin in mint state can be worth anywhere between £2 to £5, and proof sets containing the 1971 10-pence can be even more valuable, sometimes selling for £10 to £15 depending on condition and demand. Collectors also love to own these coins as part of a full decimalization set. Having the original 1971 coins, from the halfpenny, the penny, the 2 pence, the 5 pence, and of course the 10 pence, is like owning a complete piece of history from the very first year of the decimal era. Another fun fact is that while the coin is not considered rare today, many people held onto them as keepsakes back in 1971. Families stored them away in jars and boxes as a memory of the big changeover. Some of these coins, when discovered decades later, still appear shiny and untouched, making them attractive for collectors. In summary, the UK 1971 10-pence coin is a cornerstone of British decimal coinage. It might not make you rich, but it is an important collector's piece because it tells the story of a nation modernizing its currency system. It carries the portrait of a young Queen Elizabeth, the proud symbol of the English lion, and the word new pence that marked a new beginning in British coinage. So, if you come across a 1971 10-pence coin, keep it safe. It's more than just 10 pence, it's a piece of history that represents change, tradition, and the story of Britain's money. Thank you for watching Coin Collector. If you enjoyed learning about the 1971 10-pence coin, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another deep dive into the world of coins. Share this video with your friends who love history and collecting, and let's continue uncovering the hidden stories behind the coins in our pockets. Until next time, happy collecting.